The purpose of this video is to provide instructions for entering data into the Client Profile or CPD section in MOTS. The CPD section must be completed for all MOTS reportable clients, regardless of what type of service is being provided. Please review the MOTS reference manual for information on specific fields in the CPD section. This manual and other useful tools can be found on the MOTS public website. This demonstration will take place in the MOTS training environment. Here is the URL for the MOTS training environment. User accounts for the MOTS training environment can be obtained from the MOTS support staff by sending a request to this email address. Reminder: only false test data should be entered into the training environment. Do not enter real clients. Client information entered during all of these video demonstrations is randomly generated from a list of common names and possible data combinations. Any resemblance to a real person is coincidental. This is the MOTS training environment login page. Notice the label in the upper left corner that clearly indicates the training environment. Enter a user ID and password. Click the Login button. This is the MOTS training homepage. From here, this demonstration will illustrate entering a new client with a randomly generated name and set of demographics. Click the Client Entry tab at the top of the screen. This is the client lookup screen. Always search for a client before entering a new record for him or her. This will help prevent the accidental creation of duplicate records for the same client. Ensure that the agency and facility fields have auto-populated correctly. If more than one facility is available, select the correct facility before entering any other search criteria. Enter all or part of the client's last name, or enter all or part of the client's first name. In searching for a client, the less information entered, or the broader the search criteria, the better. Simple differences in the spelling of a name may make existing clients difficult to find. For example, the client to be entered has a last name of Collins. Click the Search button. Any results found will be displayed below the search fields. For this example, no matches were found. Because the client to be entered does not yet exist in MOTS, a new client record can be created. Click the Add New Client button. The client summary screen will display. Depending on the services provided by the context agency, as many as 5 sections may be visible here. Data tables will appear in these sections as data is added for this client. Click the Add New TX Episode button in the Behavioral Health section. The Client Profile tab of the Behavioral Health record will display. The fields on this tab must be completed for all clients. Most of these fields are required, but some may be optional or conditionally required. 2 other tabs appear at the top of the form: Behavioral Health Detail and Addiction Detail. The fields in the other 2 tabs, which are explained in other videos, may be completed for a client depending on his or her situation. Each field on this screen will be described in detail as example data is entered. The agency will auto-populate. The facility will auto-populate unless the context agency has more than one facility, in which case select the facility at which the client will or did receive services. Most other fields will be in a read-only state until a facility selection is made. Some notes about name fields. All names will be converted to proper case, with the first letter being capitalized and all subsequent letters not capitalized. For example, this is done to reduce the frequency of duplicate clients in the MOTS database and to close correction request loops. This change occurs upon exiting each name field. The only valid characters are letters, hyphens, apostrophes, and spaces. Spaces should only be used between compound names. Other characters, such as quote marks around a preferred name or nickname, will be rejected. Nicknames, preferred names, alias names, name prefixes such as doctor, and name suffixes such as junior or senior should not be entered in MOTS. Enter the client's current last name. Please note that on this form the last name field comes first. Be careful not to enter the client's first name in this field. Enter the client's first name. Whenever possible, the client's legal name should be entered, not nicknames, preferred names, or aliases. This field is optional. If the client's middle name is not known, or if he or she does not have one, leave this field blank. Do not enter unknown, NMN, or anything other than the client's middle name. Enter the client's last name at the time of his or her birth, such as a maiden name. If the client's last name at birth is not known or has never changed, enter his or her current last name. Do not enter same, unknown, not applicable, to be determined, refused, or none. Do not enter the client's first name, middle name, nickname, alias name, date of birth, address, or anything else that is not a name. Doing so creates false alias records in state databases. Enter only the client's last name at the time of his or her birth, or, if not known, the client's current last name. Enter the client's date of birth. This date must be entered as 8 digits following the format displayed beneath the field. 2 options are available for selection in this field. Select Active if the client is or will be enrolled and receiving services. Select Assessment Only if the client is being assessed for services but has not yet been admitted, or if the client was assessed and a determination was made that the client will not be served due to lack of need or other reasons. For this demonstration, Assessment Only will be selected. If the client is or will be enrolled to receive services, Active would be selected instead. The remainder of the client profile would be completed, then the Behavioral Health and Addiction Detail tabs could also be completed. Those steps are demonstrated in other videos. If Assessment Only is selected, as in this example, the Behavioral Health Detail and Addiction Detail tabs will disappear. This field is for an identification number assigned to the client by the agency or facility providing treatment. It can consist of up to 20 characters, letters, numbers, or a combination of both. MOTS does not accept other characters in this field. Also known as prime number, OHP number, or recipient number, this field is situationally required if the services will be paid for by Medicaid or Oregon Health Plan. For an assessment-only client, this field is optional, but if the number is known or available, please enter it. Choose one or more of the available options for this client-reported category. Clicking an option on the left will move it to the right. Clicking an option on the right will move it back to the left. Select the option from the drop-down menu that best describes the client's Hispanic origin, if any. Select an option from the drop-down menu. Note that in all drop-down menus like this one, it is possible to make a selection by clicking, or by typing and allowing MOTS to auto-select the closest match. Select the option that best describes the client's current marital status. Select the option that best describes the client's veteran status. Select one or more of the available options. Rules built into this field will check for invalid entries. For example, selecting both full-time and not in labor force will cause an error when the record is submitted, which will be demonstrated in a moment. This is because a person cannot be employed and unemployed at the same time. Select the option that best describes the client's living arrangement at the time of assessment or admission. This field is conditionally required. Leave it blank for the initial submission of any client. For assessment-only records, this field will always be blank because an assessment is considered a one-time event and cannot be updated after submitting the record. For other clients, return to this screen when the client's living arrangement changes, record the change, and record the date on which the change took place. Select the county in which the client resides. This field is defined as the county that holds the contracted service. Often, this will be the same as the county of residence and/or the county in which the treatment facility is located. Now that the client profile record has been completed, the data can be saved by clicking either the Save Draft button or the Submit button. Save Draft should only be used if any of the information entered needs to be verified or was unavailable at the time of entry. Draft records are saved but not submitted. They must be completed in order to be accepted by the MOTS database. 6 fields must be filled in before the record can be saved as a draft: agency, facility, last name at birth, date of birth, client ID, and gender. Do not leave client records in draft status for any longer than absolutely necessary. The MOTS support team may contact MOTS users to offer assistance in getting client records submitted if draft records are left incomplete for an extended period of time. Client records left in draft for more than 90 days will be automatically deleted, and if they were valid records, will need to be re-entered. This test client record appears to be complete and ready for submission. An error message has appeared, referencing invalid data in the competitive employment box. Correcting the illogical data entry should cause the error message to disappear. When all errors have been resolved, click Submit again. No more errors appear, and the Behavioral Health Detail and Addiction Detail tabs at the top of the screen have reappeared, which indicates that the record has been submitted successfully. MOTS will automatically return to the client summary screen. The top of the screen now shows a summary of the client, including context, agency, and facility. The recently entered data is now listed in the Behavioral Health table. This example showed how to enter a new client. The next example will show how to look up an existing client record to view it, update it, add services, etc. Click the Back to Client Search button. First, find the client. Confirm that the agency and facility fields contain the correct selections. As before, enter all or part of the client's last name, or enter all or part of the client's first name, or client ID, or Medicaid ID. In searching for a client, the less information entered or the broader the search criteria, the better. Simple differences in the spelling of a name may make existing clients difficult to find. Click the Search button. The search results are displayed. When the correct client has been located, click any part of the line containing his or her name and other information. This client had an assessment-only record submitted previously. It can be reviewed if needed. Click the record in the Behavioral Health box to view it. Because an assessment-only submission is a one-time event, all the fields have been set to a read-only state, grayed out, and locked against changes. Return to the client summary by way of the Back to Client Summary button. If this client had returned and was again only assessed, a new assessment-only event should be submitted. Or if the client had returned and enrolled for services, a new behavioral health record should be submitted. Click the Add New TX Episode button. The client profile screen will display, but the fields are already populated with known client information except for client treatment status, which has the usual two options. Again, this demonstration will illustrate an assessment-only treatment status. For a client enrolled to receive services, Active should be selected so that other data can be entered. The automatic selections in other fields come from the client profile information previously entered. Some fields can't be changed. Review the data in all the other fields and make any needed changes or updates. For example, the client is now separated and working part-time. Update these two fields. Once all the updates have been made to the client profile, click the Submit button. MOTS will return to the client summary page, indicating that the new information has now been submitted. This concludes the demonstration of the Client Profile section. To continue learning about entering data into MOTS Client Entry, please review the next video on the Behavioral Health Detail section.